Here's a piece of me to chew on.
Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about depression, and I'm going to talk about emotional pain. I've told you before that I have something called clinical depression and something called PTSD. Last week, well, only a couple of days ago, I had an episode of extreme anxiety. And one of the expressions of that extreme anxiety is suicidal thoughts. And so I decided that, I'm going to start talking about these thoughts because I don't really believe them anymore. I'm too old, and I've survived enough suicidal thoughts to realize that it's just mostly something else. Because if it would be suicidal to think suicidal thoughts, then I would already be dead, and I'm not. I'm an old fucker. I'm 47 years old. I can't be suicidal even if I think these things. So I've started looking at what are they? And why do they affect one so much? A lot of people are affected by depression. It's a big deal in Western society. A lot of people actually commit suicides, and other people, they commit externalized violence and will actually kill or beat or abuse someone else. Now, why would anyone do these things? Depression is a symptom of external factors. Now, there are parts of the medical community and there are parts of narratives in this society, of the feudal society, the industrial society, that tells us that depression is your own fault. It says, if you're depressed, that's on you. So, it's not our problem if you're depressed because that's your own fault. That's not true. The reality is that you get depressed as a result of something called cognitive dissonance fields. What's a cognitive dissonance field? Cognitive dissonance field is basically what it is to be inside a paradox, where you lose your power over yourself, you lose your initiative, and you lose your capacity to make the choices to take your own consequences. This is fundamental for the human being, to take our own consequences. And in a society like this, everything is based in control. We're conditioned from a very, very early age. We're taught to accept control. We're not taught from a very, very early age to reason, to think in such a way that we learn to figure out things on our own. Instead, we are taught to look for authority to tell us what we're allowed to do. Now this, for the human psyche, is a form of violence. The human mind is too bright, it's too intelligent, it's too perfect to have that type of violation committed onto it. Because in the end, this really is what it is. There are levels of depression. You can have a kind of micro depression where you get upset that you ran out of candy in your bag of candies, and that's a kind of depression. It's a sense of deprivation. And we come back to what causes depression, and I told you earlier that it's something called fields of cognitive dissonance. And what are these? Well, they are, an example, violation. If you are deeply violated, if you are deprived of something is taken from you that you perceive as yours. It can be physical pain, extreme physical pain, or just a little bit of discomfort. It can be direct trauma. All these basic constructs, they create in the human mind a natural inclination to solve this, to understand what it perceived. So the human mind is such a beautiful and amazing thing that it is truly a supercomputer, constantly trying to solve the puzzle that is being. And when we've had some form of violation or trauma, or we've been bereaved of something, we try to understand it. We try to solve this puzzle, because if we can solve the puzzle, then the pain will dissipate. It will not be as heavy and hard as it was. Depression is that process of trying to process the enigma, the question mark that is the result of trauma, deprivation, violation, pain in one way or another. I spoke before about ego and the importance of learning how to step out of the ego in order to learn how to truly communicate. Stepping out of the ego is also important because only in this can we learn to not be broken by depression. Depression works kind of like a scar, like I referred to earlier in a different discussion. It's there and we keep coming back to it. Eventually, we can identify with the ego, and we can identify as the ego grows, we can identify with this victim situation of whatever kind it was. Our 3-year-old monkey mind will want control over the situation again. So we create this ego, this interface, this construct, this functional. Yeah, interface is a very, very good word. It's something that allows for us to navigate in this biological material reality. Problem is that suicidal thoughts and creation of suicidal ideation is really not as extreme as it may seem. We're very scared of death in this society because that's the last of it, we think. Well, if we die, we're incapable of doing anything more. We can't achieve anymore. Which is true, we can't achieve in this incarnation of reality. We still have to learn how to address it. Because what is that whole thing with the suicidal thoughts? It's just as anything else, like overeating or going off and using sex to divert ourselves from something, going to buy stuff, to get out of our state, to consume our way out of things. Suicidal thoughts are a way for the mind to re-empower the mind. Suicidal thoughts is a way to create a scenario so intense that it can take one from a situation where you do not perceive there to be any other solution. You have to find some kind of solution that is so out there that you get a feeling of relief. It's again, suicidal thoughts are an expression of ego. It's an expression of the ego trying to escape from the now, what we have here and now. So how do we escape it? And how do we deal with it to not be so scared about it? Well, to begin with, it's really important. Again, I come back to the perceptual bubble I was talking about, and I will return to this. This mind bubble that we can toy around with is a great tool, because when we look at these things, we can actually, we can bring it up in size, and now we can place this field of construct and conceptual understanding that we can call it suicidal thoughts, and we can place it outside of us. Remember, you're not alone in observing these things. Other people observe it too, and if you can step away from your ego, you can observe it together with other people, and you can give it a name, and you can speak about it, and in doing so, the emotional pain that comes up around, an example, extreme longing or suicidal thoughts, or the incapacity to let go of something, some form or some way you were wronged, you perceive yourself to be wronged. Well, in order to move away from that, you have to be able to step back from your ego, and together with other people who can also step back from their ego, you can start observing these phenomena. This will help you. This will give you a breather. This will give you the capacity to move through what seems unacceptable. And this is one of the reasons why people are so fearful of cannabis. Again, cannabis has helped people for thousands of years in that they get relaxed. When we relax, this helps us to be able to step back from the ego. Now, of course, it's not only cannabis who can help us do this. The most important tool is meditation and breathing. Here's the key to breaking mental illness. Here's the key to breaking the destructive paradigm that we are a part of right at the moment. Meditation is the key to breaking suicidal thoughts and to breaking depression. So in the next couple of episodes, we're going to start talking about meditation techniques and why they work, what yoga is, why this actually is easy to incorporate with our daily lives, and why it just makes for a better life. So until then, take care and press the little buttons, share, and write comments. We love comments. Take care. Alak Baba Sirishandirag.
'Cause you want